Hey folks, it's Brian. Welcome to another episode of 360 Politics. I'm excited that you're here today. We've got some amazing stories for you. Let's cut right to the chase and get into these. So, as we know, Elon Musk and Donald Trump do have quite an effect on day-to-day operations inside the U.S. government. And now, Elon Musk has really gotten some people inside these agencies pretty fired up because now there's been an email sent out asking employees what they did last week, and there's an expectation that these people will respond back to what they did. Now, I don't know about you, but we know the best of intentions are learning more about people's jobs and what they do. I get that part, but there's also a massive sense of, should we say, micromanagement. And nobody likes to be micromanaged, particularly when you're an adult, particularly when the expectation is that you're competent, and finally, that maybe you know more about your job and the functions and importance of your job than maybe the outside source who's the expert coming in there to check this out. Let's take a closer look. So according to the article, millions of federal employees are heading into their work week caught between differing factions of the Trump administration. Elon Musk giving them Monday night deadline to explain what exactly they do at their job and what they did last week. The crazy thing about this email is actually escalating everything, and I do mean everything, because now these employees are being told, at least Elon quoted on X, that these people must explain what they do or risk losing their job, considering this as a resignation by not responding. So I don't know if I really like that kind of rhetoric, because it's a very powerful thing and it seems like the playground bully, if you will. Now, I realize he has a job to do, and if you look at his success as a businessman, there's a lot of success to talk about, right? But I don't know if this is how he ran Tesla or he's running SpaceX, but I know for sure he's very mission driven, and Trump said he is the man to get things straightened out with the federal government. We'll continue to follow the story because there's so many more different avenues to respond to, but I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Leave a comment below, because I'm here to say that I'm really curious about what I see and maybe what I don't see in this story. Stay tuned to the next story. Over the weekend, there's been considerable back and forth between Trump and Zelensky once again, dealing with Ukraine's rare earth minerals, and the United States is doubling down, saying they want access to rare earth minerals that are found right inside of Ukraine, and they want that for various security guarantees. Zelensky, on the same token, he wants guarantees that the United States will still have his back during this conflict as it continues to go on with Russia, and maybe equally as important, making sure they're not giving away land in the up-and-coming peace negotiations that will be taking place. I'm curious, what exact elements are we talking about, and what are the industrial applications? If you're curious, so was I, so here's what I can share. The rare earth minerals include lithium, that's used in making batteries, titanium, which is a very powerful metal, lightweight super metal that's used in producing jet fighters, and my guess is probably some type of missile systems. And of course, they use the other, quote, as other rare earth minerals. So we'll be curious to see how exactly this thing plays out, and I'm quite certain we're going to get some additional thoughts from the Wall Street Journal, which is one of my preferential news sources that we look to on a regular basis. Next story. If you feel a little bit more secure with Trump being in office, you're probably not alone. We know that the borders in the South, particularly along the Mexican border, are now much more secure than they were 2 to 3 months ago. We know this has been an ongoing struggle, and we know this is one of the president's promises that there was going to take action. But now we're finding more and more U.S. soldiers sitting in border towns right near the Mexican border, and the trickle, and I do mean very trickle, of illegal immigrants coming to the United States is almost down to a drip from the fire hose it was several years ago. So these soldiers are there. They're not doing too much anymore, but I would argue that their mere presence there is a phenomenal, and I do mean a phenomenal deterrent. It won't be a forever deterrent because we'll have to come up with a different operation as to minimize border crossings. But just understand, when the president said he was closing down that border, he meant it. And right now we have soldiers still there on the border. In the Main Street section of today's video, there's been a huge reliance on the top 10% of wage earners inside of the United States. What does the top 10% look like? Well, they are households that earn $250,000 and up. Now, I'm the other 90%. My house is not that house that's earning $250,000 a year, but there are statistics that are coming out that says our economy is becoming more and more reliant on just those very people, those that can afford to spend on their needs, and of course, spend extra money on high-priced handbags, vacations, luxury cars, and things that the other portion of the population is really kind of scraping by. Heck, we're trying to put kids through college. So the fact is, we understand the other half's struggle, or the other 90% struggle, but hey, hats off to the people who are out earning and making things happen. And you know what? It's not any way, shape, or form to show envy nor jealousy, but just a statistic that we want to all be aware of, because in the ideal economy, we have a robust middle class that's feeling confident, not worried about food prices, not worried about other things like, for instance, college tuition, which has gone right through the ceiling, nor are they worried about fuel prices, etc. So let's continue to follow this story because it is worth following and it means something to you. It means something to me as well. Finally, we'll be taking a look at the last story, and this deals with China and tariffs all over again. Just when you thought the rhetoric with China couldn't get any more crazy, or you know we're going to slap tariffs on Chinese products, we know that we're going for a second tier lower of Chinese products, ones that are like $800 shipments and less, they're also getting whacked with a tariff. But hold on, take this to the next level. Now Trump is compromising and thinking and supposing that what would happen if the United States starts putting docking fees on Chinese ships that are showing up in U.S. ports. So it's taking this whole tariff thing to a completely different level. And with that, I'm curious what the end game is here. What do you think the end game is with this whole tariff situation with China? Is it just to get fair trade? Is it to put China in a position where they can't flood the U.S. market with cheap products? Is it to bring manufacturing back to the United States? Maybe, just maybe, there's another thing that we just don't quite see. And maybe this is the transfer of continued trade imbalance with China. What would happen if the United States doesn't have as much of an imbalance anymore? Maybe there's some other socioeconomic measures. Maybe there's geopolitical components to this. Whatever it is, we'll keep on covering this story because I know it makes a lot of difference to you, and lots of people have an interest in this as well. Hey, it's Brian. Thanks again for tuning in to Politics 360 Politics. And just to remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so I can make sure our daily podcasts, our daily video casts are sent right to your inbox. Until then, check out my other videos. Have a great day.